Heyo. Welcome back to Positively Reviewed, episode 8. And we have another switch up today. But before we get into the episode, let's do the normal. Nessa, I got a question for you. Guess what?
Yeah.
It's another one. 8th question of the beginning of the... I've asked you a lot of questions, but this is the 8th one that matters.
Yeah.
Other than the other ones that also mattered. If you could put on a concert, let's say you're a pop star, you've been singing loud, you are bigger than... who's the chick that did the song Friday? You're bigger than her,
Rebecca
right?
Black.
There you go, Rebecca Black. You're bigger than her now. Congratulations. Proud of you. You worked hard for it. If you could put on a concert anywhere in the world that you wanted, what's your dream setting? Where do you think your perfect setting for your perfect band is at?
Oh, gosh. I know where I want to visit the most, right? Like, I would want to go to Italy if I were to just visit somewhere, but I wouldn't necessarily want to have a concert there. I don't know if that would be the aesthetic. I think that something like Reykjavik or something Nordic would be really cool. And so you do something in winter, and then there's like the hot tubs, and it's cold, but it's cool. I don't know. I don't think I'd be a pop star. The hard thing for me is, like, you say pop star, and I'm like, okay, I'd want to be out in Hollywood or in Korea or something. But I don't know. I think I would want it to be something unusual. And nobody wants to go to a concert in winter, so my answer's terrible, but maybe everybody can watch in the hot tubs, like, while it's snowing.
I see.
That could be cool.
Okay,
we could do that.
Wait, so are you in the hot tub while you're singing? Or is just everyone watching in a hot tub?
So, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but in, like, really cold places, it's like a thing in Minnesota, and it's a thing in some of the colder parts of Europe. And I had friends who went to Reykjavik, and this is a thing that they do there. But you sit in the hot tub, and you get really hot, and then you get out and you roll around in the snow, and then you get back in the hot tub. So...
I've done that before.
Yeah, so, like, imagine a hot tub concert where, like, you rotate in between, like, this giant freezing pool party, but you're in hot tubs, and then when you get too warm, you get out and, like, mosh and jump around, and then get back in the hot tub. Yeah, and then everybody on stage, like, in between songs, goes and jumps in to stay warm.
So that's just how you stay warm during the winter. Got it. Okay. So you're just hopping in and out of hot tubs while also with all this electronical equipment.
Yeah. Well, there'd be nothing wireless. Everything would be wired, and you'd leave the wire, and then you go and jump in, and then you come back. Wired superior.
Do you just stop the concert mid-song? You just like, all right, 1 sec. And then you just hop in, and then you're like, all right, you take like 3 minutes, and then you hop back out.
That's what guitar solos are for. All right?
Right. So the guitarist is the only one who has to stay up there and freeze, and everyone else gets to hop in.
You do a drum solo. You do, like, those long bass solo intros. Maybe you have 2 drummers. All I can think of is water.
Second question.
Yeah?
Second question.
Yep.
How do you spell Reykjavik?
It's like R-E-I-J or something. I have no idea.
I definitely know, and I've totally seen what this place looks like. So
REYKJAVIK.
Iceland. Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Yes, I knew this. I'm aware. So I'm glad that we are on the same page that this is, oh my God, this is a very beautiful place. Look at those mountains. Wow. All right.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful there.
That was exactly my same place.
Yeah, you also picked Reykjavik.
No, I would have gone to like Rome or Greece. I want to be in the Colosseum. Do they hold concerts in the Colosseum? That's where I'd be. I would just feel like the coolest cat if I held a concert in a place where people got their heads chopped off. I'm a fan. I'm into it.
I do have to say, this is a symbol of how much I don't care about Dota anymore that I didn't say at TI. Because they do have people perform at TI on the grand stage.
Yeah, fair enough. I was like, I guess they do have that. I don't feel like that's an ideal concert setting, though. Let's be honest. They do it because they're paid probably good money to go put on a half-baked concert. And I'm not saying they're bad. Song. I'm just saying, like,
Deadmau5 did a set back at TI5. People hated it. Right. They all just left because they did it after the grand finals. So then they fixed it, and then they did Lindsey Sterling opened TI with this whole thing that she was in cosplay of one of the characters and danced around, and I didn't get to see it, but I heard it was very cool.
Why would you not do it like right before the grand finals? I feel like
this was opening ceremonies. Ideal. It was cool.
Well, yeah, opening would be fine. Better than definitely ending. I mean, after party stuff is like its own thing, but I would always host it right before grand finals to lead you into the grand finals. That's what. Isn't that what like a lot of places do for stuff? I don't know. Don't ask me. But
Tokyo
there are
Machine
things out there that do it.
For the most recent Dota tournament, Tokyo Machine did a set in between like the lower bracket finals and the grand finals, and people didn't really like that either. So. Dota, maybe that's why we didn't answer that, because Dota players really don't like anything that's not Dota happening ever. So gotcha. Not a great concert venue. Good call there.
So Iceland,
yeah. Is that
that's Iceland a perfect segue into our thing that has nothing to do with Iceland.
Nothing whatsoever. But it's a great segue.
You know, Iceland, actually that's a lie. You know what I've always heard, Nessa? I've always heard that Scranton, Pennsylvania is identical to Reykjavik, Iceland.
Reykjavik?
So, yep, that's what I said. And coincidentally, guess who's from Scranton, Pennsylvania?
I don't know. You'll just have to tell me. It's not like they're one of my favorite bands or anything.
It's The Office. I mean, Motionless In White. So that's what we're talking about today. We are actually we're switching it up again. We've had a nice series of switching it up, trying out different things. We even got a new layout. If you're watching this and not listening to it recorded, we changed up our look a little bit. Now we have the colors that match our logo now. We have a great logo. You should get merch. That's the shout out to the merch. It'll be in the description. Buy our stuff. Do it. But we're talking about Motionless in White, which Nessa knows a whole lot about. It's one of her favorite bands, so she's friendly with them, and we'll get into that. But it is a metal band, a metalcore band. I'm tentative. I want to step around because I don't know them all that well. This is more of a Nessa thing. I was into metal a very small portion of my life, and it was like weak metal that I was into. I was into like alternative rock back in the day, my old high school phase. But yeah, we're talking about a live streamed concert today. So we're switching it up. It's not just a concert. It's not just a band. It's not just an album. We're talking about an actual video concert. It's very, very, it was actually really good. It was really cool. And I have some things to talk about this format later on. But before we get all into that, let's talk about just this stuff. Just if you didn't see this concert, sorry, you can't see it again because it was live streamed one time and it's not recorded.
But you could see them live, especially if you're in Europe, because they have a European tour planned for the winter 2022. And then they have a bunch of festivals planned across North America over the next couple of months over the summer. But so if you're new to the podcast or if you've been here for a while, it's called Positively Reviewed Pod on all this. And Positively Reviewed Podcast. If you're going to find us on social media, it's going to be POS Reviewed POD. And we are totally fair and balanced. We definitely don't always say that everything is the greatest media to ever exist. And this week, you really don't have to worry about spoilers because it's a concert and it's music they've already released. So you can just go listen to them on Spotify. And they said they might even be releasing a couple videos from the Deadstream, which is what the concert was called, on YouTube over the next couple of months. So you might actually have a chance to see a few of the songs if you missed the live stream, which was very cool because it's the greatest piece of media ever. Oh.
Motionless and Dead. Motionless in White Deadstream.
Yep, that's
greatest
the one.
Piece of content ever created.
Yep.
Until next week.
Until next week.
But yeah, Nessa, so this is a little different than movies and stuff. So there's not necessarily a good pitch. It's a concert, but like I guess the best way is how did this happen? Why did they do this Deadstream?
So the first thing you need to know about Motionless in White, like you said, they are metalcore. They've been around for a long time, and Chris, the front man for the band, the lead vocals, etc., very clearly loves Halloween. So they did a live stream that I did not watch back in, I think, October, because they didn't get to do their normal, like, Frights Fest Halloween extravaganza thing that they normally love to do. And as they are planning tours and getting back out on the road, they wanted to do a second concert stream type thing because from what it felt like, Chris had this vision of playing in a graveyard or in a mausoleum or something creepy and Halloween related and everything. And once tours start, you don't really get to do that. And nobody is necessarily going to watch a live stream because they could just go see you live, which I actually think people would watch a live stream. But
oh yeah,
separate conversation. And so they did this entire setup, I think up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
With just this awesome, it was like an asylum behind them, and they had...
Yeah, it's the Penhurst Asylum.
Yep, and they had drones and cameras and lights and fog and all this makeup and this whole... It was very cool. And it was something that, you know, at one point during the concert, he says, you know, this was really only possible because, you know, we can't tour right now, so we wanted to do this before tours started back. It was so cool.
Yeah, so this is the second one. The first one was called like Creatures or something.
Yes,
the first Deadstream was like Creatures in the Night or just Creatures. I don't know.
It was old music.
I did my research.
Yeah, it was an older album that they sort of did again to kind of like connect with their OG roots fans. And
gotcha.
So that's why I didn't really watch it because I much prefer their newer stuff. Is much more the style of music that I listen to.
Yeah, Nessa, for those who don't know, she's very into metal. She lives and breathes it. Like I said, I've had a little experience touching into it. I thoroughly enjoyed this music, though, actually. This music from Motionless in White was fantastic. I enjoyed the entire concert. It was actually much more in the vein that I would do. It wasn't like super hardcore metal that some people might be afraid to get into. This was very much the kind that I probably would have listened to when I was in high school.
Well, and so that's the thing is that Creatures is much more of the metal where you can't understand the vocals as well. They're mixed in tighter with everything else so that you don't even pick them out as much. There's a lot more growl. So that the older stuff is more traditional, like metal core that you think of. And then the newer stuff has, the way I describe it is more of a cadence to it. Like there's more singing. I mean, the screams are amazing and the bleh is really good. Like the bleh from Chris is similar to the wah thing from David Draymond, Disturbed, that like I can't do either of them clearly. But their newer stuff has so much more movement in it. When you listen, you feel a cadence, you feel a movement, you feel variation through the music, and you can understand the lyrics, and they're really good, and so you get into it a lot more.
Yeah, and I think that was a big thing that helped me for it, is that I could actually understand what they were saying the whole time. And as I said, it wasn't a lot of screamo or anything like that. It was just really good. Yeah, and the whole band, it was entertaining. They were all dressed up. They all had great makeup on and everything. It was awesome. So.
All right, well, do you want to get into our Motionless in White facts? I mean, you might be the one reading them this time.
Yeah, I think we're switching up, and I will be the one reading the facts because I don't actually know this one. Nessa gave me most of the facts for this one. I had to look up a few, so I did my best. Literally, she sent me a list, and I didn't read them. I just copy and pasted it. So hopefully they actually are facts about the show and not something mean about me or something like that. I don't know. Well, I guess before we get in, you got any news going on this week? Do we have any news that we need to share?
Sony bought whatever company made Returnal.
Yes, not Morrowind. That's a Skyrim game. Morrowind or something along those lines. Yeah, they did do that. And on top of that, we just saw that Xbox just got a whole marketing thing with EA and DICE. They worked out a marketing ploy for Battlefield, where Xbox is the official console of Battlefield 2042. Not exclusive, though. No exclusive
just
things. I love reading all the comments for those, because everyone is just like, this is all clickbait. It's not exclusive, don't worry. And I'm like, in no way did the title say that it was exclusive. They just said they made a business deal with them. That's it.
I mean, that basically means you buy the new Xbox and you get a copy of Battlefield with it.
Yeah, it's going to be that, or, it's going to be whenever they show advertisements from Battlefield from now on, it's going to be like made for Xbox, right? Yeah. It's going to say that it's going to have their title screen basically on it. That's about it. Nothing changes. It's been interesting, though. This is a whole nother conversation, but there is definitely a war going on about just buying up companies between Xbox and Sony and seeing who's gonna, and it's interesting the direction that each one is going in, because I think fundamentally Xbox and Sony are building themselves differently. Xbox is going they're going in completely different directions in how they're trying to sell their products. So, but that's a conversation for another time. But that's the news for thought for the episode. There you go. Fact section. Number one, we got Nessa's favorite fact that I get to say this time is I had less than zero idea how much money is made from this kind of format, or how much it takes to how much it costs to run a show like this. I don't know what it costs to run a live stream or something. I know what it costs to run a live stream and even an esports event, but to run a concert in this style, I got no idea, because I mean they got people on the background, producers, they got a whole film crew, everything. They're buying out the front entrance of Asylum, but I'm sure that was actually pretty cheap, because I don't think there's a lot going on right now for them. So I think they're going to take whatever money they can.
Probably a good guess.
I don't know the details on the Penhurst Asylum. I should have probably done a little research. I think it's an abandoned asylum nowadays, and I think it is just used as a backdrop for a lot of stuff.
I believe it's used as a haunted house.
It's a haunted house. There you go. I know they said that. I know the lead singer was saying that during the kind of opening, they came out, they did a song, and then the beginning he was like, it was always a dream of his that he always wanted a haunted house behind him as a backdrop, and so they got the full thing, not only the haunted house but an old insane asylum.
Yeah.
So, but to go forward with the money thing, average cost to run a concert, I have no idea as well. It's so wide and it's completely dependent. If you got a small band versus a large band versus a showcase, and they're all over the place. So it's totally random. I couldn't find a good middle ground. It could range from anywhere from running a concert cost all of $500 to $1 million. So it's somewhere in between that. Best thing I could find is the average cost to rent a concert hall, which is what a lot of the bigger groups use, is about $50,000, which is actually a little cheaper than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it'd be closer to like 100, 150,000. But to go on where the whole, what does it cost to raise a child? If you convert the $50,000 to Brazilian real, which is the currency of Brazil, you would get about 247,000 Brazilian real, which is the cost to raise a kid in the US, right? Is 230,000. So it's just about the cost, but I mean, it doesn't really convert because it's USD versus Brazilian real.
Well, see, you convert it over and then you convert it back, and magically it somehow works out.
You convert it back, and you actually, you don't
fine.
actually convert it. You just say now it's USD.
Yeah, that sounds great.
It's definitely not the cost to raise a kid in Brazil, though. The cost to raise a kid in Brazil is actually 2.8 million Brazilian real, which is about $1.4 million USD.
That seems wild.
That's a ridiculous cost to raise a kid. Apparently, the cost to raise a kid is $1.4 million in Brazil. How is anyone having kids in Brazil? That's insane.
Yeah, that.
Are you looking up to check? Are you fact checking me right now?
I'm not fact checking.
Oh.
I'm not. I trust you. All right, I trust you.
I was gonna say you can. That's exactly what came up. If you type it in, I'm like, that's ridiculous. That doesn't seem right at all. But that's what it said. I didn't go past then what the base thing it said though. So who knows? Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh gosh. All right. So we know we've got our cost to raise a child based on estimated concert costs. Now the rapid fire facts I wrote this time off the top of my head.
These are in English, so I'll say them exactly as they are on the paper.
Exactly as they are written, because I did not convert them into
I was
reasonable.
The one thing she asked going into this. She's like, don't read them word for word. And I was like, perfect. I will read them word for word. That's what I heard. So Ryan, who is the Motionless in White guitarist, Skizvliv G Field code Twitch streamer tattooed on him. That's the first fact. If you don't know, G Fuel is a energy drink company. It's not really an energy drink. It's one of those like flavored water powder companies.
Yes.
That's the official drink of gamers. By the way, I hate it. I hate G Fuel with a passion for a multitude of reasons. Saying that now. So good luck positively reviewed ever getting sponsored by G Fuel. That's okay. I wouldn't want a G Fuel sponsorship anyways, because they're garbage. But Skis Live. Sky's Live. Oh, okay.
So Ryan, the guitarist for Motionless in White, has G Fuel code, right? And so it's kind of a meme in the streaming community because G Fuel sponsors so many people.
Everyone. And literally, if you ask them, they'll give you one.
Yeah. He posted an Instagram story a couple weeks ago where I'm pretty sure he got code Sky's Live tattooed on him, like for the G Fuel activation.
For G Fuel?
I don't know if it's a temporary tattoo or not, but it looked like a real one.
I doubt it. With these kind of guys, I feel they full send it, man. So they just committed to it, and yeah. I'm not. Listen, all right, I can't help it. Guess what? Rant time.
Yeah.
I'm going on another rant.
Wait, is this a positive rant though? Because we are the positive.
This is a public. It's a positive thing as it is a public service announcement. So it's good for the people. Don't get G Fuel sponsorship. Everyone does it. It's not their contracts are bad. They're very bad for you. Don't do it. You would be better off getting anyone else. That is all I shall say. Because they're just not worth it. They're not worth it for the streamer and stuff. Everyone does it because it's one of those. A lot of people are always looking for sponsorships, and it's good for your sponsorship resume. So that when you do go to bigger companies, you could be like, look at all the other things I've done sponsorships for. So that's the only reason you should do it, but even that's not that worth it because everyone knows that G Fuel sponsors everyone. All right, rant over. That's been Joker's public service announcement for the podcast. Next fact, they went from 1.2 million listeners to 2 million listeners in the past year. That's a lot. That's a big jump. 800,000 on Spotify. Oh, that's even more precise, which is even more impressive. That Spotify note was totally not just added. Yeah, that's a lot of people. I mean, 800,000 people just think about that number, right? You just have 800,000 people
who find your band.
Is that how many
without
football
concerts
stadiums?
Or touring.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Without concerts or touring, have that many people get added on just to Spotify too. So that's just one area. There's all these other areas that they can listen to the music too. So it's impressive. So
yeah, I mean, it's like Chris, at least 8 stadiums.
Yeah, I don't know. Isn't the average like a football stadium is 55,000 people? Is that what it is? I don't remember.
So
the exact
16
amount,
stadiums.
Yeah, it's something along those lines. So, but Chris, the lead singer, has a teenage daughter that and makes amazing dad jokes TikTok. Oh wait, hold on. Let me read that again. Chris, the lead singer, has
you made the English worse. You actively made the grammar of the fact worse.
I was just supposed to read what it said on the page, and I made it worse. All right, retry. Chris, the lead singer, has a teenage daughter and makes amazing dad joke TikToks. There you go.
Yes.
You said it properly this time. TikTok. Do you use TikTok, Nessa, at all? I don't.
Every once in a while, if I'm trying to get into it.
Yeah. It's good. Honestly, TikTok is one of the most amazing platforms out there when it comes from the way that they have their algorithms set up and the way that things are promoted on the website and their service and everything. They have actually an incredible service, and it's one of the best social sites out. Well, I should say it's one of the best made social sites out there. I don't know if it's one of the best social sites out there, but it's one of the best made out there right now. So
I use it occasionally, but the time investment to make a successful TikTok is beyond my capabilities. So I would just prefer to stream and play video games.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, bruh, these things are so low effort. You just toss things together. I've found a good niche for myself, so I throw things on there every once in a while. So I do have to do more of them. I do want to start putting out like 2 or 3 a week. So in the beginning of Brand New Numb, Chris yells at Ricky and Ricky says sorry. So that's it. That's a fact. So I don't know what that means. Give me the context.
There's a song. It's called Brand New Numb. And at the beginning, there's this like someone's messing around with the guitar. And Chris yells, "I'm trying to record this," with some expletives in there. And you just hear someone like super ashamed in the background. "Oh, sorry." And then it just everything starts the song starts super high powered and everything. And I just love that they kept it in the recording.
Added in. Yeah. So they messed up and they're like, they just keep it in.
Yeah.
I love it when bands do that actually, or just anything. Movies, TV shows, whenever they put in the accidental cut into it, it's great.
Yeah,
that's where you get gold, to be honest.
Well, that was at the end of the Deadstream. The bassist walked up, and Chris was like, "No, it's all done." And the bassist was being like super
that was
goofy.
That guy.
Yeah, that was cute. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, he walked up. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" He's like, "Nah, it's all done." He's like, "Oh, okay, see ya." So, they're touring with Beartooth this summer.
That's a lie. I lied in my fact. It's this winter.
All right. That's an untrue fact. Turns out that's what we do here now. We give you fake facts. Congratulations, Nessa. You've started it. You've lost all the trust in all the viewers now. No one will believe anything we ever say now.
Yeah.
Now when I say things like it cost $1.4 million to raise a child in Brazil, no one's going to believe me. And then they're going to fact check me. And then they'll turn out that I was right. And they're like, okay, I get it now. Nessa is the liar.
Yep.
Joker's the only one telling the truth. So, all All right, who's Beartooth though? So that's a fake fact, but I don't know who Beartooth is. This another metal band, I'm assuming.
Beartooth is another metal band, yes. And the interesting thing, let me just do a little look. So Beartooth actually has less monthly listeners on Spotify now than Motionless do, but Beartooth, I believe, are the headliners.
Oh, okay. So Motionless in White are opening for Beartooth. Got it.
Yes.
I mean, you get that sometimes. You get it where you have the big person opening up for, but I guess that wasn't at the time when maybe this was starting to get planned or not planned because this isn't happening. It was the opposite. So
that wasn't confusing at all. Props to anybody who managed to follow that.
Yeah. Formed in Scranton, Pennsylvania in 2005. So that's why Scranton was brought up, is that this group actually formed in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yep. They've been around 2005. For a while. Yeah, I mean, they've been around for a long time. I
forgot the name. I was going to say, who is it? Oh, no, I've forgotten. Ryan Stokowski? Is that who I was thinking of?
So Ryan Stokowski, yes, is the guitarist.
Nope, that's not who. Who's the drummer?
I do not know the drummer's name.
Is that Vinnie Morrow or is that Ricky Olsen? No, Ricky Olsen.
No, Ricky.
Ricky Olsen.
All right, Ricky is not the drummer, if you were curious.
Not the drummer, but that was the person I was thinking of. He's actually a native to Seattle. I found out. When I was looking up the research, I found out that he was actually originally from Bellevue, Washington, which I live very close to the Bellevue. So there you go. But I'm curious of that story. Did he move to Pennsylvania or just like?
So
did he? I don't know.
I don't know enough of the backstory there, because I don't think they're still in Scranton. I think they're a little spread out, and then they group back up for things like the Deadstream or tours.
Yeah, I'm sure during COVID they kind of all went back to their respective places, but you know when they're touring, they're kind of just going around the country and whatnot, right? So.
Yeah, I don't know how Ricky ended up in Scranton or they ended up in Seattle. I'm unsure.
Picked him up or something. One. Yeah, I don't know. I meant to check and I totally didn't. That I wasn't sure if he was. I don't think he's a founding member of the band.
No, he is not.
I might be wrong there. No, yeah. So probably picked him up in Bellevue from somewhere doing something. Who knows? Yeah.
So he joined in 2011. So Chris is the only founding, and then Ryan joined in 2008.
Yeah.
Ricky 2011, Vinny 2014, and then Justin Morrow, the bassist, is a relatively recent addition in 2019.
Which is a good segue into our deep fact, which once again I'll just read as it was posted. Check out the history between Ice Nine Kills and Motionless in White. Motionless bass player Justin Morrow had to take a break for. No, hold on, wait. Who was the original? My bad.
Previous bass player,
who was.
I don't.
The person that Nessa will say in a second.
Devin, probably Devin Sola, I believe.
Devin Ghost Sola.
Yeah.
Had to take a break for mental health reasons, so Inc., which is Ice Nine Kills, took me a second to realize that for some reason. Bassist Justin Morrow filled in, and he was there for like 6 months, and then ended up leaving the Ice Nine Kills and joining Motionless in White, plus another one of Ice Nine Kills member actually produces all of Motionless in White's latest album.
Yep.
Which is, what's the person's name? Who is that?
You know, I remembered it, and then I lost it.
You said it to me before it, and we've both forgotten. So hopefully you follow that. But yeah, basically they stole.
It was JD. I wouldn't say stole, but Ice Nine Kills and Motionless were touring together, and then in a separate tour, Motionless didn't have a bassist, and I don't think Ice Nine Kills was touring. So Justin Morrow was like on loan to them to finish out the tour. And then when that concluded, I think he decided to join the band. And then JD produced Motionless's album, and I believe missed out on an Ice Nine Kills tour because he was producing the album. And then he is no longer a part of Ice Nine Kills.
Oh, really? Okay. See, I didn't know that. Uh, I wonder why that is. I mean, I feel. I mean, how is Ice Nine Kills popularity versus Motionless in White?
Be less so, but very similar
Okay.
level. Ice
Right.
Nine Kills is, I love them. What I would say is that Ice Nine Kills leans even more heavily into horror. Not necessarily Halloween, but like horror. Their latest album, The Silver Scream, is fascinating because it takes all of these classic horror movies and has these songs about them. So there's one called It Is the End that is, it and the clown, and it's really cool, and there's all these awesome things they do in the music. And then there's another one that's about Jason and like the Crystal Lake and the camp counselors and the drowning, and it's they're so much fun to listen to. But they lean really, really heavily into it. And so Spencer Charnas, who's the front man for Ice Nine Kills and the longstanding member, has this incredible vision for horror and really commits thoroughly to it and does all of these things. And part of me wonders, does that become too much? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've never been a touring metal musician to know what that's like, but there's a really heavy performance aspect to Ice Nine Kills. Whereas in Motionless, it kind of seems like you have that performative aspect if you want it. Like obviously Chris got really into it and everything, but if you watched Ryan, he was much more like I mean, the guitar he has to play is like really complicated, so I get why he's focused. Right. But he was just chilling the whole time. And
he was just kind of doing his thing.
So I wonder,
letting the music speak for itself. So, and there's definitely something to be said about that. So
I wonder if that's an aspect to it of just like personal taste, like, hey, this was super cool to do for a while, but maybe I want like a slightly different experience. I don't know though. I mean, I know absolutely nothing about that. That's like my guess based on optics of like looking at the two. They're both fabulous though. The Silver Scream is one of my favorite albums. So I would strong recommend.
Alrighty, I'll have to, again, I'm not super into metal, but since Nessa's recommending it, I will do it. Mm-hmm. I'll actually check all that stuff out because that sounds interesting. I kind of like the whole. So wait, did the Ice Nine Kills actually make music videos that were based on movies, or is it just the music is? I mean, the music is based on the movies, but did they also like make music videos and stuff related? Because I think that'd be awesome.
I haven't actually watched the music videos because I don't like horror, so I haven't wanted to.
Fair enough.
But
you can't even watch a YouTube video horror thing.
I'd rather not risk it. But a cool thing, so I don't remember the specifics, but so Ice Nine Kills recently released like a graphic novel that was about like the experience of being an Ice Nine Kills fan, and something goes horribly wrong and there's like murder and this whole thing. That's really cool. But the other thing for probably their most recent tour is they worked with like Broadway production company to design lighting and costumes and a whole like run of show and everything for a full-on performance production, like not just the music but everything else. And I think so. Again, Spencer Charnas, the frontman for Ice Nine Kills, I think I read an interview about him where he was talking about that. I also had the opportunity to interview him, so we talked about it a little bit. But it was very cool, and it was just this whole dedication. So I would assume that their music videos are
to it. I mean, if they even have, I don't know. Sometimes you release music, you don't really have any music videos. So I guess that's something we can find out easily. But we won't right now.
There's a music video and there's a scary clown. But it looks like
oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So cool. They just redid the movies and but in music videos. I'm actually, I think that's awesome. I love the effort that goes into like music videos and stuff like that. I think some can be very basic. Looking at certain currently popular artists out there, won't name names, but most of the time, I think I think that's something I've always wanted to do. Is I've always wanted to actually work and do music videos and something like produce music videos or something along those lines. Because I think there's something that's super awesome and you can get really creative with them for just, you know, a quick. It's like making a short film, right? Is what you're doing, but it's all synced to music, which Edgar Wright and and Baby Driver and everything like that is a great show of just like what you can do with music and how amazing it just adds on to each other. Yeah, and I think there's something magical about that. So, all
right, so we ready for the copy for the product? Jumping in.
Yes, the copy for the product. I didn't change the name on that. The product being the stream. Oh, okay. Before we get into it, let's actually do a fill me up section. I'm a fill you up here, Nessa. All right. I hate that I phrased it like that. I need to change that title for it. I don't like it either. You didn't like it the last time. I don't like it this time. No one likes it. You know what? We're changing it. I'll figure out. It's Swerve and Derv. That's the new segment where we swerve from what we were talking about and we derv to something else.
Sure.
Don't know what that means, but that's the new segment.
Derv right
in. I guess my before we get into what this is what are your thoughts on doing these kind of like live stream concerts and stuff along those lines? Because we've been seeing a lot of different form concerts ever since the whole pandemic stuff. We've been seeing a lot of interesting new methods of concerts. And even before that, I mean, we've seen concerts in video games, like literally the whole Travis Scott stuff going on in Fortnite. We've seen, again, entirely live stream videos. We've seen just recorded concerts. We've seen, I think there was like a radio concert I've heard of, DJ, like a podcast version of a concert. I know Monster Cat has like a weekly, every week they have a DJ put together an entire like Monster Cat concert going on and stuff like that. So, there's a lot of this new form of concerts. I guess, what are your thoughts on just all of it? Are you a fan of it? Do you miss actually physically going to concerts? Do you like these? Because I'm not a big concert goer myself in general, but I do enjoy the occasional one. And, I've seen like Killers and I've seen B-52s and I'm much old school. I'm Cake and all those kind of people. Different kind of music than this. So, but you're smiling. You've got something to say. What do you got?
I just
hit me with
B-52s. I was like, how old are you?
You don't like the B-52? Come on. They got amazing music. I just said, what is wrong with the B-52s? Or something? No, they're not from the 60s. They're 80s. And they're 90s. They're a 90s
so
band.
So much older than that. They feel so much older than that.
Are you kidding me? Come
like
on.
Current or even semi-current music.
What the heck? Look, I grew up on 80s, 90s music. You give me any song and I'll tell you, I got that talent.
90s. You had to grow up on 80s and 90s music.
That's exactly my point. Hey, I'm just saying, I pride myself. I have that ability that you play a song and I can tell you the artist and the song just by hearing a little bit of it. No matter what song it is from 70s, 80s, 90s, hit me with it. Not right now because I won't do it. I'll tell you, I won't. But I'm pretty good at it. So I love music. B-52s are like Talking Heads and all of those groups that they just got a unique sound. They're all unique. They all got very music that's so nonsensical that is about nothing but randomness. Rock Lobster, come on. What is that song even about? I know what that song's actually about, but it's a good song. Doesn't matter. All right, continue. Sorry. I had to get that out. I felt attacked.
I just thought they were older. I thought they were like old. 90s, it's fine. I mean, going to old stuff's fun. I was looking at, gosh, what did I want to see? There was someone a few years ago, Eric Clapton. I would never go see the Rolling Stones, but like there was a couple that were like old. Right. Like I saw Alice in Chains. They're not that old, but they were like kind of old.
They're getting to that point.
Yeah. So I don't mind it. I mean, I grew up on classic rock. And for a long time, not that this is really classic rock, but for a long time, the band I desperately wanted to go see was U2. Not that they ever tour in North America or that their tickets are even remotely affordable, but would love to see them. I used to go to concerts all the time. That's the only thing I really missed during a pandemic, because I didn't really do anything else, or I did, but I didn't care about it that much. I was probably at a concert 1 to 3 times a month.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've seen Hollywood Undead. I've seen Seven Dust, Korn, Alice in Chains, Hailstorm, In This Moment, Disturbed several times, 3 Days Grace several times, Chevelle, Breaking Benjamin, Five Finger Death Punch, Skillet, From Ashes to New, Trivium several times.
You said the two, Five Finger Death Punch and Breaking Benjamin. Those are again, if you're a Halo fan, those are Breaking Benjamin's the top tier for you.
Yeah, they were good. So the cool thing about Breaking Benjamin is like everybody sings. So they kind of just like pass the mic around. So when you see them, like, it's fun. Super cool. So I will drive 4 to 6 hours away for certain bands that I want to see. I will see them multiple times on the same tour. I love concerts. Hollywood Undead is like one of the best shows you'll ever go to.
That's a lot more than I thought. You like 1 to 3 a month. That's ridiculous. I don't know, man. I go to like 1 a year, maybe.
I mean, it would depend on the month if I was traveling or not, right? But so DreamHack has rock and metal concerts, so I was going to those, and then I would try and make it to club shows for smaller bands that play the club shows, and then so it's probably like maybe 3 to 4 stadium shows a year, and then maybe like 2 to 3 event shows, and then another like 6 to 10 whatever club shows. It depends on the month and who's playing and what's going on. Oh yeah, I've also seen Starset and Red. Yeah, I mean, if I went through my list, I've seen so many different people.
Yeah, you would go forever. Again, I think I can count on my hands how many concerts I've seen, because I mean, I've seen some multiple times, but like, you know, I think, I don't even know what is, now that you're mentioning it, I pretty much have seen pretty much all older-ish bands. I don't think I've seen any more recent. I think the most recent one would be like Black Eyed Peas, which do they even make music anymore? Are they, that would be them and what's the drumming and the I'll think of it. Give me a sec. I'll think of it. Huh? Who?
Pendulum's drum and bass.
Oh, I do love. Listen,
I would go see Pendulum.
I would.
That would be so cool.
Can we go to a Pendulum concert? I would be totally down for a Pendulum concert. I love all of their music.
Yeah, Pendulum would be sweet. There was a question there. Oh, what did I think about, if we're going back to Joker's original question?
This format, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? What do you think of this format?
So I've got some sort of mixed feelings. When you stream on Twitch, you're so tied to that viewer number. And because Twitch is kind of all about being reliable, and the discovery is not great, and the front page promotion feature kind of works but kind of doesn't. It's very dependent. And like going live tweets, 0% convert to actual Twitch viewers, and all of those reasons, right? Someone streaming on Twitch feels like a large spend without any good reason to it. And I don't particularly like it because I don't think it's good for the band. Individual band members streaming makes a ton of sense. But popping onto a channel once every 4 months and streaming isn't how Twitch works.
No, yeah, you have to be doing it constantly. Yeah. Again, that's the biggest thing everyone will tell you. Consistency. That's why we release this once a week, every week. So that's why I like what Motionless did with the Deadstream, where they advertised it, I don't know, for a month, more than a month, just nonstop. And I follow them on a couple different platforms, and then I follow a couple of their members. So I see it everywhere. And they made the tickets really affordable. I think they were like $10. And something 10 to 15, something like that. They're really affordable. They have it set up in a system where you have 48 hours to watch, and after that, it goes away. I left the tab open because it basically looked like an embedded YouTube video.
and I left the tab open and like had it loaded, and I was like, maybe I'll be able to watch it again the next day because like I haven't closed the tab. And it played for about 45 seconds and I got really excited. I was like, haha, it works. I'm never closing this tab. And then it stopped working. I was really upset.
Yeah, I was going to say that usually as soon as if you leave it too long, they have to like reload themselves. They can't just sit there.
So that kind of thing I think makes a lot of sense because I think that the bands get more direct support from that because ticket sales are very good for bands and they can do a big merch push around it. And it's just different from Twitch because you don't access your fans in the same way. There just is not the same conversion. And so anytime you try and do something new, you lose a lot. Like you don't convert everybody. So even though it's a live stream of a concert and not a physical concert, fans of music understand that much better than they would understand go watch this band on Twitch. So like if a band wants to go perform for TwitchCon's virtual opening ceremonies, Twitch is going to drive all those viewers. The band's really not going to get that much from it because like their people aren't necessarily going to be there because converting is hard. So I love them. I think they're great, but they have to be sparing because it's not like touring where you can play every 3 nights or every other night and there's different geographical locations to buy your tickets. Like you can only do it once every 4 to 6 months. You probably need new music to come out in between each time that you do a stream. There has to be some sort of event around it. It has to be a bigger spectacle. And you really have to hope that people buy into it. So I think it's risky. So if you don't have like a vision, I would say it's not worth it. I mean,
I know you did have to buy tickets to see this, didn't you? Or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did have to get tickets for it. And that'll help a little bit, but I think it is, like you said, I think streaming on Twitch and stuff, Twitch is it's a very different audience. I mean, there is the music section of Twitch, but you're trying to target an audience that's not what Twitch is about. So I totally agree to an extent on there, but I don't know. I am liking. I think the hardest thing that these bands and stuff struggle with is promotion of this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. When you're on concert and you're on tour, it's easier to have that because it's just a set thing and people know when it's happening.
Well, and so I go to so many concerts, so I have just about every single venue and like Live Nation and Ticketmaster and all of them. They send me emails all the time. Like I probably get 5 or 6 emails a week with bands I actually like, and then another dozen emails with bands I don't care about sent to me that are like, oh, go ahead and buy tickets. Pre-sale starts soon. This is happening soon, blah, 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 blah. Which I do have early access to lots of fans, which is nice. I appreciate it. I got Great Disturbed. Well, I was supposed to have Great Disturbed tickets, and then everything got canceled and they got refunded, and I no longer have Great Disturbed tickets. But I did have Great Disturbed tickets for my mother and I for a while.
Why? You spill the beans. How do you get what's the secret to getting good tickets?
Well, I mean, I paid a lot of money, but I had early access by being like a Disturbed fan. So I bought expensive tickets, but I had access to the expensive tickets early on because of that. And so like, cause there's cheaper sections, right? But if you sit in the very front of a cheaper section, it's a really good seat. But the back of the cheaper section is less good seats. So if you buy the tickets like right away and you get them before everybody else, you can get the slightly more affordable ticket, but the really good seats still. Type of strategy.
Right. Fair enough.
And I go to the venues enough that I know where the good seats are.
Got it. So just go to a lot of concerts, know where all the good seats are, and then buy them before anyone else does. Spend loads of money.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good format for concerts.
Oh gosh.
Odessa. I figured it out. It finally came to me. That was the group I had seen. I was like, I think that's the most recent one. I saw Odessa. Mm-hmm. That was actually incredible, by the way. Just a side note. Holy nuggets. Because they don't have a lot of lyrics or stuff. They don't do singing. So they basically had like what looked like a concert band, like a drum line. They have their Odessa drum line, and it was a full-on like show that they put on. It was really freaking cool. So but anyways, one of my favorite things I've seen. I thought Killers were, because they were opening for Killers, and I which Killers were great too, which is a good segue into the meaty meat, I think.
Alrighty.
So unless we have more to say, because they did a cover of Killers.
They did do
somebody
the cover
told
of
me,
Killers.
but we'll get into that soon.
Yeah. So
copy of the product.
Yeah.
Hit us with it.
Motionless in White has announced Deadstream #2, set to take place on June 9th from the infamous Pennhurst Asylum in the band's native Pennsylvania. Tickets and merch bundles were on sale at miwmerch.com. Ticket holders could watch the stream of at the broadcast time, or they could watch it again during the 48-hour video on demand window from June 10th to 11th. The band stated that we're kicking off the summer of 2021 with a Deadstream sequel. We'll be performing for the Pennhurst Asylum in Pennsylvania. We're so excited to play for all of you across the world again and to do it in such a special and unique location.
Yeah, and the merch plug was not. Don't worry, we're not getting paid by them to do the merch plug. That was just part of the actual copy of the thing. So
they have
wouldn't
a nice.
Mind, though. I'm sure Nessa wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
if we did actually get.
They have a
paid
nice
by them.
Home Alone themed Christmas sweater. That's like a Motionless in White Christmas sweater. And it's great.
What do you mean Home Alone themed? What is that? What is a Home Alone theme?
Like what the little kid wears in Home Alone, like the ugly Christmas sweater, like it's styled just
sweater.
Like that.
The ugly Christmas sweater. Got it.
So they do have that.
Gotcha.
If that is something you need in your life.
I'm not too big into the ugly Christmas sweaters. I have a few good ones, and then that's that. I'm good from there.
I have a red one that has sequins across the chest that say nice, and then if you rub them the other way, it says naughty. That's my Christmas sweater.
Oh, that's a fun one. I like that one. I don't even remember what I have anymore. I have some. I don't remember what they are. They're pretty bad, though. It's delightful. So, this was the Motionless in White. I wanted to put these people on because they did seem kind of important. They did have a director for it, was Bryce Hall. The producer and manager was Logan Beaver, great name. And the film crew was Larson Media Corporation. Mm-hmm. So they had an entire film crew working on this, and they had a whole team of people who were managing this all for them. They all, the talent had to just be the talent, which is always appreciative, I'm sure. And
so the band members, we've talked about them, but there's Chris.
These are the current
band
these
members.
are the current band members. We could talk about the past ones in a second.
So Chris Motionless Cerulli, Ryan Stokowski, Ricky Horror Olsen, Vinnie Morrow, and Justin Morrow. That's nice that they have such similar last names.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know what. So tell me, Chris is the lead singer.
Yep, Chris is the lead singer. Ryan is a lead guitarist, and he had his first vocal feature on Thoughts and Prayers, which is not their most recent album, but second most recent album, which I did not know. And as I was watching the Deadstream, he screams for his vocals, and I was just like, was that Ryan? So some background. So Ryan has done some stuff with DreamHack. So I got to interview him, and then we also had him as a Dreamies award presenter for our award show. And so I've spent a decent amount of time recording with him. Yeah, and he's really sweet, and he's kind of shy. And so when I was watching the Deadstream and saw that happen, I just kind of was like, where did that come from? And then Ricky Horror Olsen is the rhythm guitarist and backing vocals. I also think he does a lot of the writing with Chris. So Chris is like all the lyrics and stuff. And then I think Ricky and him work together a lot. They have a podcast where they went through all of the songs on Graveyard Shift, which is their second to last album, and talked about the creation and how each song came together.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, and they did a podcast for that?
Yeah, it's really cool. So it's I'm blanking on what it's called, but I can I can link it to you. It's very cool because they sort of talk through each song and where certain guitar riffs came from. And Chris talks about how he didn't know that he was a good vocalist. He didn't think he could sing. He thought he could only really scream. And I believe it was the Ice Nine Kills band member who was producing their album that said, hey, like, let's bring you forward more. Let's get you to sing more, and really pulled it out of him. And honestly, I think that really changed the trajectory of their music.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if their older stuff was more screaming than this was, like, as I said, this was very much more my style. I like lyrics and stuff like that in songs. So, yeah, and his voice was great. He has a great voice.
And then Vinny is the drummer, who I didn't really know anything about, but watching him on the Deadstream, he was having so much fun.
So much fun. They all look like they're having a lot of fun.
I have another cool little music thing. So Justin Morrow, will finish that out, was the bassist, and he had the most complicated face paint and was by far the creepiest looking person. And then at the end of the stream was a total goofball. So that was kind of fun to watch. So Vinny, the drummer, now take this with a grain of salt. I don't play drums. This is me guessing on what I've learned from drummers and from the few lessons that I have had. But there is, so what is very characteristic of metal and hard rock now, the reason that one of the reasons Disturbed was so revolutionary in the like hard rock mainstream radio genre was because they took metal drums and pulled them into like mainstream music. And that's the double bass pedal. And so those are like the big drums, and the drummer's feet are just kicking away like crazy, going boom, 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 boom. And it gives a lot of like depth and weight and oomph behind songs, and they're really popular in metal songs. So Motionless has a lot of that double bass pedal. But Five Finger Death Punch is really, really known for these like super aggressive. And they actually have something called a double kick on the kick drum.
Right.
Where it'll hit once and then it'll immediately hit a second time. And
hit a second, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like twice as aggressive. Like, it's just really aggressive sounding. I was listening really closely to Motionless's music, and now I don't know. I am guessing, let me say that a million times, that I don't actually know this. I do not think that Vinny has the extra on the kick, but there are some songs that have the triple bass pedal sound to them, which means his feet are going like the whole
really
time
fast
to do it. And so he was just booking it up there and having a blast, and it was super fun to watch every time the camera had like turned on to him.
Yeah, as I said, they all look like they were having just such a great time just doing their own music. It was good. I like seeing that in artists when they do look like, it doesn't look like they're forcing the music, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all right, there's a bunch of past members here that we'll just run through. We got Kyle White, Mike Costanza. Is his name really Mike Costanza?
You wrote it, anyways, not me.
Frank Palumbo, Angelo Parenti, Brandon Rage Richter, Josh Balls, Devin Gosola, and Thomas T.J. Bell. I have no idea what any of them did other than that, but those were other members who did things at some point. So
one of the previous members, and I don't know which one, was actually like a pianist, keyboardist, etc. So if you listen to earlier Motionless, they have more of that like symphonic European feel to them, because there's a lot more like keyboard ethereal elements to it. And you hear some of that on their newest stuff, but not as much.
Yeah, which I'm sure they throw that in as a little extra. So.
All right, I have to ask now, because I watched it multiple times. I know all of their music. I listen to them all the time. This was your first experience. And do you have...
And again, I hadn't seen any online concerts or anything. I haven't actually watched anything like this. So.
Yeah. So I want to say, did any songs stand out to you? Or any specific lyrics?
No, but also yes. Like I couldn't. You put me on the spot, but I couldn't tell you like specific lyrics. But I can tell you, I don't know the name of the songs because there was a lot on there, and I got none. But again, I mean, the Killers. Somebody told me they did a cover for that. Fantastic. I'm a big Killers fan, so that it was good. They did a really good job, but. whatever the second song they played was, after they had the intro song, and then he did the whole intro about talking what they were doing, and then the song that they played right then, and then the finale song were both fantastic. And I think those were my two favorite, in my opinion. Now, I have no idea what they're called, so I'm sure as an audio podcast, I'm sure that's very helpful for you to know. I think Nessa looks like she might be trying to find it.
I think I like have the set list somewhere, and I'm just not like 100% sure where I would have stuck it. But yeah, I might be able to dredge up.
I knew when I was watching it, I was like, we're gonna talk about specific songs, and I'm not gonna be able to pick out a single one. It's not because they weren't good. It was just, again, when you're hearing a band for the first time, you don't remember any of the songs they say.
So I think the second,
or the names of it or anything. So
I think the second song was Reincarnate.
Okay.
For those listening, and then if my list is right, the last one is probably Eternally Yours.
Eternally Yours.
Yeah. Would
sure
be my I believe so.
Whatever you say, I'll believe it. You could make up stuff and I'll be like, yep, that's the one.
So Motionless in White has this really cool, the way that Chris does the vocals, a lot of it definitely deals with like mental health. And so there's a song called Voices. So it's like voices in my head, and the music video. That's a pretty good one. Can even be a little hard to watch, but it's really good about like these two different forces pushing and pulling him. And if you listen to that podcast thing that I mentioned that he and Ricky did together, he kind of talks about the points of these songs, that a lot of these songs are polar opposites of each other. So Eternally Yours and Another Life are basically this love affair in two different ways that it could have gone. So like Eternally Yours is I Am Eternally Yours. It's actually a really heavy song. And then Another Life is like, I wish that I had been what you needed, or I wish I had seen you were what I needed, or something like that. And then Soft and Loud are paired songs. And it's really, really cool because there's like this antithetical juxtaposition. I don't know how to describe it, but it's really cool when you start getting into the lyrics and you see what Chris has done to kind of build this picture and show this internal struggle that everybody has. I love it. And when they played Code in the Deadstream, that was the one where he said, you know, this is for you for the past year of the pandemic. This is what everybody has been going through. And that was really, really neat. I'm going to pull up the lyrics, but of one mind, of one soul, we unite to write our code. And then a couple other things, because we don't have to feel alone. And so it was a really cool message, because it was like, we're all uniting to write the code of how we're going to exist and be, and we don't have to feel alone, because like together. And it was really cool. It was just this wonderfully put together message that I thought was
they did a lot of stuff that was like messages and shout outs to groups and people and stuff like that. And overall, I could just tell that there was a lot of love for the music that they were singing, but a lot of love not only from that, but the band to the people listening to them.
Yeah,
they were truly appreciative of all the stuff that they could do, that they could do this kind of Deadstream. And have the opportunity to do these things. And they, as I said, they killed it. I'll be honest, I think I can't think of, I'm trying to think what my least favorite song was, and I don't remember it, to be honest. I don't know if I had a least favorite song in it. I'm sure I did. I think there was one song. Again, couldn't tell you where it was, but if I heard it, I'd be like, that's the one. But overall, all the music was fantastic. It was all very entertaining. I was very entranced by it in a lot of ways. And I just enjoyed it. And I think if I sat down and honestly, I think the way that I listen to music is I'm not as as much as I love lyrics, I don't fully pay attention to them the very first time. I'm very more of a rhythm person. But if I sat down and probably watched the whole thing again, which I can't, of course, but if I could, I would probably try to listen to really what they're trying to tell me. And there's a lot of meaning. Again, I think there's certain stigmas about metal and stuff like that, about the kind of music that exists. But I think some of the music most of the music is just as impactful as any other song out there, as any other genre of music, if not more. Times.
I was going to say, sometimes I think it's more because honestly, metal's not as popular, which means you don't have major record labels dictating certain directions. It's got a very niche audience, so it's not as mainstream. There were so many touches to this that I loved. So there's a song, Catharsis, and there's a lyric, something of like catharsis in your headphones. And Chris is on stage and he points to his ears and he goes, "That's us." And he's saying that like Motionless is your catharsis in your catharsis. Headphones. And like, it was so cool. Like, I thought that was neat. And there was just, because, so if you didn't get to see the Deadstream, you missed it. Hopefully they'll put some stuff up on YouTube. But if you know anything about Motionless, like you said, Chris's face is painted white. He's got this like weird black lipstick on. They paint their arms black. They wear that like creepy Halloween vibe. You know, they've got this like Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie sort of vibe to them.
Yeah. That's a perfect example. Yeah. It's a perfect way to describe it.
But like the personality. So I've seen Rob Zombie. I haven't seen Marilyn Manson, that's fine. I've seen Rob Zombie. I never need to see Rob Zombie again. Totally wonderful, as this is the Positively Reviewed podcast, but definitely not my cup of tea, and definitely wasn't up there talking about himself the entire time at all. No, that wouldn't have happened.
Oh, yeah. I've never had any of those kind of concerts where the people get up there and it's, Ooh, okay. Yeah, I mean, we love that when that happens. Totally. It's great when all they talk about is themselves. It's a great time.
But Chris didn't really say a word about himself. He said, "We've always wanted to do a concert in a haunted house."
Everything was a we, first off. There was no I.
Yeah. There was we's, and then it was talking about the fans. He specifically stopped and shouted out the entire production team, all of the staff there, everything. Like, the personality of Motionless in White is unbelievably like welcoming, which is just not what you ever expect. Like when someone's like, "Oh, you listen to metal, they scream, they're just angry devil worshippers, like blood and destruction and all of that kind of thing." And then you see the face paint, and the experience is a very different one. And I think that's so cool. Yeah.
And I think on that note, I think it's a good time to kind of start wrapping it up. We have another news segment that we are starting. Woo, new segments.
New segment, not a news segment.
Yeah, exactly. New segment, right. We totally didn't already have trouble going overtime at all. That wasn't an issue that we struggled with. But since we do these live, for the people who are listening on the podcast format, we do these live recordings on Twitch every week. But we wanted those people, if you're interested and you are there, you can post questions. If there's, we don't assume we'll get many questions, but if you have any questions about it, how we feel about the media or anything in particular, you can let us know there and we can answer them live. Or even if you don't want to do it live, you can ask a question on us on the podcast and stuff, or on the, the websites and stuff where you leave comments and wherever you listen to the podcast, and we'll also be able to answer them. And we'll probably answer them the next week on the podcast in that for the next episode. So that'll be a new segment. But this is a reminder that if you do have any questions, this is the time to ask.
Yep.
But before we get to that, how you feeling overall? What did you think? I guess this is a question to me. Let's be honest. We know how Nessa feels about this.
Okay.
She loves it.
Yeah.
She's seen it 12 times already. So,
okay, so this is where we talk about our overall feeling of the media, right? And I would like to get from Joker. Before you went and watched it, when I was like, look, we need to do this, we need to review this when we get time, like, let's go. What were you expecting? And then, like, let's start. What did you expect?
that is a good. I'll be honest, I expected a more showy show. If does that make any sense? Just simply like when I heard that it was a live stream like concert format, I thought it was going to be a lot more flashy, right? Like there was going to be, like you said, is the Ice Nine or who?
Yes,
wait,
Ice
who were you
Nine
talking about
Kills.
earlier?
Yeah,
Ice Nine, who they could be a little bit more flashy and just more involved, and it's more showmanship, I guess, to it. And but I mean, this was just a straight concert, right?
Yeah.
So when I heard, it's like anything else that I've heard of all these concerts and stuff that they do, live streams and stuff, is they tend to make it into a more evolved show than they do just a concert. But this was just a straight concert. So I was going in expecting more of a show format, but it was a concert. Which wasn't a bad thing. That's not a complaint by any means. It was just like, if you wanted what my expectations were and what we ended up getting. So I actually think I like this better because this is something that I think you can experience. You can be involved in the show, watching it, and see how involved the performers are. But at the same time, if you were the kind of person who was like, hey, this is a good thing to just have going on while I'm working on other things too, it's good. I like personally a lot of online formats for these concerts and stuff for that reason, is like I can have a concert up, I could watch it and enjoy it, but be doing other things in my life at the same time. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. It wasn't what I was expecting.
It would have been hard to expect what they did.
Yes. Yeah. So I love I mean, for me, I will say my favorite person on there was that little skeleton sculpture that they had, the mic stand skeleton that they had going on. Yeah.
At one point,
he was adorable. He started spinning. Yeah, I was gonna say he started like spinning around. I loved it. So, but yeah, overall, I thought it was great. I thought it was a great time. So it was a good experience. Would do it again.
So what's your rating?
My rating, 1.4 million.
1.4 million? Wait.
Yeah.
Wait, 1.4 million US dollars or Brazil dollars?
US dollar. I'll give them the US dollar. They earned the US dollar, so 1.4 million US dollar.
Nice. All right. I'm going for the 2.08 million US dollars because that's how we convert things.
Okay. So you're not doing the Brazilian real. You're giving them the US dollar. Yeah. All righty.
Yeah. 2.08 million. So far, as of yet,
bit of a stronger currency. Yeah. I feel you.
As of yet, the most expensive cost to raise a child that we have reached. This is apparently the cost that Joker would attribute to having 202 dogs.
Yeah. Hey, stop. Just stop. Stop making your kids cost so much. That's crazy. It's ridiculous. I mean, give the children are our future, but come on now. They need, you need to have a future for there to be a future.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. $1.4 million? You're insane. That's nutty. So. All right, and I didn't actually fill out a question. Usually we finish with another question. Do you got a question for me? Because if not, I'll give you a question. But I didn't have one because I thought I'd keep it. I think I'm gonna keep these a little more free form. The second question.
I mean, if you've got a good one to ask, you can go for it because I've got
none of the questions I ever have are good. Good's a strong word.
Got it. So my question would be: let's revisit what we talked about at the beginning of the podcast of where you would hold a dream concert, right? And I would say, if we're going to say, where does this media go next, right? Motionless is blowing up. They've almost doubled their monthly listeners on Spotify in the last year. They become huge. Metal becomes mainstream. Where do you think would be their dream? Like, what is their next? They got their dream Asylum Haunted House concert. What would you say is the next thing that they would shoot for?
The Haunted Mansion from Mario 64.
That would be so cool!
They would play on the top of the haunted house there, the Haunted Mansion. That's the dream location.
I was thinking, so you've probably never seen this movie, but this would be a great thing for us to review, and maybe you have seen it, and then we can be even better friends. Repo the Genetic Opera is a glorious movie.
Repo the Genetic Opera?
Oh, it's great. It's got Alexa Vega, the girl from Spy Kids. It's got Anthony Stewart Head, which is Giles from Buffy. It's got Paris Hilton. It's got Joan Jett.
This is a cast, that's for sure. A lot of times I'm like, that's an all-star cast. I'll tell you, this is a cast.
And then Sarah Brightman, who is one of the top, I believe she was Christine in Phantom at some point. Not the movie, but I think she might have been Christine on Broadway. I think. Anyway, she's like a really amazing opera singer. Like that's the cast of the movie. First of all, it's great. It's a great movie. We should do it another time. So I would say what is next for them that would be really cool is some kind of Nightmare Before Christmas revival sort of thing where like so one of the things we didn't really talk about, so Another Life and Eternally Yours, they released in this, I can't remember, I think they called it cinematic recording, but it's more like a lot more Evanescence than it was like metal. Like it was just like pure vocals and piano kind of like really stripped down. And I think it would be so cool to have a Daft Punk Interstellar 555. So if you don't know that reference, Daft Punk created a movie to go along with an album. So there's a whole animated movie. There's no dialogue in it. It is just Daft Punk songs that tell the story of the whole thing. So I think it would be very cool for like Motionless in White to have a Nightmare Before Christmas-esque movie in which they had a whole album that told a story, and that
told the story of the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
I like it.
Cool.
That's pretty awesome. That would be really cool. That'd be a very entertaining thing, I think.
I would enjoy.
Alrighty. So beyond that, I guess we're closing out. So tell us social medias and stuff. That's your job.
So if you want to find other episodes, if you want to know when we go live, if you want to see random screenshots of us in blue froze that sometimes maybe get posted, sometimes don't, whatever, you are going to go to Pause Reviewed Pod on Twitter and Instagram, POS Reviewed POD. YouTube is Positively Reviewed Podcast. You're going to find podcast episodes wherever you're currently listening, or you're going to find them on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, all of those wonderful places. Wherever you are, if you drop a like or a comment, if you leave us a nice review, like 12 out of 5 stars, it helps out a ton with having other people find the podcast and join us on our random rants.
Yep, and with that, I guess we'll leave you with the tease for the next episode. We once again don't have it planned, but Nessa, there's a good chance Nessa won't be there. So Nessa's been moving into a new house, so she is going to be busy with that, and she might not be able to record. So she is going to abandon us for housework.
It's true.
And so we might have a guest host for next week. We'll have to see. Haven't quite picked what it's going to be about yet, but look forward to it because, as always, I can tell you, it's probably going to be positive.